Hi, my name is Bethy Ann Hargrove. I'm a middle school and high school art teacher. I teach 7th grade through 12th grade, and I wanted to show you some Zentangle doodling, Zentangle drawings, Zen doodles as a way for you to kind of give your brain a break, just to kind of relax and do something creative. It's just a mindfulness exercise that you can do at home. So I just want to show you a few exercises of some Zen doodles, Zentangles that you can do. These probably took me each several hours, if not, I believe this took a couple of days sitting watching TV. I just made circles. So what you're going to do is it's just a lot of line drawing. So making circles and doing line drawings, which is very calming and therapeutic for just that repetitive movement of lines and circles. So you can see I have very organic shapes throughout. Here's one that I did in a few minutes. I have a lot of negative space there, and one that took me quite a while. But I do a lot of my Zen doodling while I'm watching TV or listening to music. Just kind of gives you something to do. You know, they say idle hands. So some of the things that you're going to need is any kind of paper will do. I like to use a pen, but you know, you can use a pencil. It's totally up to you. And you can have any kind of, if you have a compass, that's great. I just use whatever I have around the house, like some empty vitamin bottle lids that I found. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break my paper down. So you can do the circles or you can do lines. You can do lines and circles. And I just kind of put the ruler down anywhere. You can do straight lines if you want, but you can do just randomness. It might be fun for kids to just drop it and draw wherever the ruler lands. So there's no right or wrong way. You can just do this, or you can add, maybe you want to circle. I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, which uses India ink, so it's like the blackest of black, what they say. I think I'm going to put kind of maybe coming off the page here a little bit. So, you know, you can kind of think out patterns. I find a lot of patterns on Pinterest for Zentangles, Zen doodles, is where I find a lot of the patterns that I like to use. Sometimes I just make up my own. There's no right or wrong. It's just repetitive. It's repetitive. So I've got kind of a plan here, and inside you just do a different pattern for each section. So maybe in this little section of the circle, I want to do hearts, scribble hearts. You can use gel pens, might be a fun thing to use for this project. You can do some cool stuff with gel pens if you have gel pens. That might be fun for kids. You can use anything, markers, but you just need to be careful with markers, because then markers tend to smudge and it gets on the side of your hand. And if you drew something, let's say you spent a long time making a pattern here, and then you put your hand here and you're working over here, well, all this is going to smudge. So you just be careful with markers. You can always put something down under your hand to work, and that kind of helps reduce smudging. So let's work in this circle. Let's just make lines and dots. And so I worked over here, maybe in this square, maybe I want polka dots. And you can color those polka dots in. Or you can do exercise and positive and negative. So here's your positive, here's your negative. And I kind of, one of the things I like about Zentangles is it's not perfect. Like, so it's not totally filled in. And I've kind of scribbled outside of the edges, and that's one of the things I really like about Zentangle, but you know, it's totally up to you. If you want it a lot cleaner, then you spend more time. One of the great things about these Faber-Castells, and I believe Microns is the same, is it doesn't bleed through the other page much. But if you do have a alcohol-based marker, which is great, but those will bleed through. So like if you have something like right here, you can always put a piece of paper in between, and that'll help protect what's underneath. So, okay, so maybe in the next one, maybe I just want to do lines. You can use a ruler if you want, but I like that imperfection right there. I kind of like that. It kind of just, I don't know. I like the imperfections. Embrace the imperfection. Learn to let go of things. My favorite Bob Ross always said, happy little accidents. So you can do anything. So if you want to practice some of the positive and negative things, sometimes I make very organic shapes. And then I'm going to make shapes so it's like something underneath. So it kind of looks like layers of something. And then you can go in and the cameraman's getting tired.
I'm working hard to get the angles, Mom.
I'm not a YouTube star, so this is but I wanted to make something to send something out for those of you that you know you're going a little crazy, you're stuck at home. I do mindfulness exercises with some of my students, particularly my 8th graders. I mean, anybody with middle schoolers at home knows that there's just something special about 8th graders. I don't know what it is. You know, they're all obsessed with TikTok and doing the TikTok dances. And really, they're one of my most favorite age groups, but they are very challenging. And sometimes we'll have a very frustrating project or a frustrating day. Um, and you know, we kind of all leave, or I'm just kind of like, I want to go home and cry or scream or yell because they're my last class of the day, but they're really spectacular. So then maybe the next day we'll go in and I'll do a mindfulness exercise with them. And I turn on music, I turn the lights down, and I turn on music, and it's really amazing. They nobody talks, and they totally get into the mindfulness exercise. And now, like, they'll come in and they're like, "Can we do a mindfulness today? You know, we've just had a really rough day." And sometimes, if it's just one kid, I'll say, "Hey, you know, you want to stay after school and we'll do a little mindfulness, and you know, I could probably use a little mindfulness too." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." And that's one of the great things about the school that I work at is it's you know, it's not a big school, so it just he allows. But I think you could do that with any school. So I did that with that square. Maybe I just want to do little hashtag marks all over in the next square, and I'll do that all over. I'm not going to just keep so you watch, because it'll be a very long video, but I'll just continue doing that all over. And it kind of gives it a little bit of a unique texture. And it's okay if you go over. So that's Zentangle, Zendoodle. You can find a lot of those patterns and stuff, like I said earlier, on Pinterest. I also have a sample worksheet stuff that a Google Doc that I print off for some of my classes. I made Zentangles and Zendoodles as a sketchbook assignment for some of my high schoolers, and they did some really amazing things. So I do have a sample doc. If anybody wants it, just let me know and I will send that out. And I believe it has a rubric on it, but I don't remember. But if you want a sample packet worksheet thing that I send out, I will gladly send that to you. So this is Zentangle, Zendoodle. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.